Make no mistake. War is coming. With all its glory. And all its horror. Mr. Findley, your freedom awaits.
Hell, it's about time.
I love StarCraft 2. It is one of my favorite games of all time, and that's why I want to review this game. I've played it ever since I was like 7 years old, and even though I've played hundreds of games over the years, I still come back to this one. Its campaign modes are cinematic and amazing, and the multiplayer modes are just so well thought out. StarCraft 2, for those who do not know, is an RTS, or real-time strategy game, where you control units and structures to build up an economy, create more workers, create more combat units, with the eventual goal of taking out your opponent's base. There are 3 separate playable races in StarCraft. There's the Terrans, who are basic humans. There's the Zerg, who evolve and assimilate DNA to become more powerful. And then there's the Protoss, who were the first race ever created, and they're highly advanced. So I'm currently in the background playing the Zerg campaign. You can see I have a worker there. My workers are there to gather minerals and Vespine. As the Zerg, your workers also create your buildings, so they sacrifice themselves to evolve into the building. From that building, this is my main production structure, so I will be making all of my offensive units here, as well as my workers. Unlike the Zerg, the Terrans and the Protoss both have multiple different kinds of production structures that they must build before they're able to create combat units. In addition, you can move your workers around or your units around. You can either have them just go straight to a location by right-clicking or hit A and left-click to have them attack on the way.
Okay, Kerrigan. I'm releasing more drones into the test chamber.
Now let's talk about my favorite part of StarCraft 2, the dynamics. One of these important dynamics is unit composition. You can see here that even though I have double the Zerglings than these Marines, they're getting destroyed. That's because Marines are very closely packed. They deal a lot of damage. Zerglings only deal damage to one target, and there's medevacs healing them, so not doing much. However, since the Marines are so closely packed, Banelings are actually highly effective against them because they can deal splash damage in a huge area. Even though I had half the Banelings, I still won that battle. Knowing what units match up well against other units is a very important part of the game, especially because there's a tech tree in multiplayer as well as the campaign where you need to build certain buildings before you can make certain units. And if your opponent has something that counters you and you can't make something that counters them because you don't have the technology for it, then it makes it very hard and you can fall behind, which is another pretty cool dynamic. The last one I think is super important is the supply cap. In the normal game, you only have 200 supply cap that you can go to, and powerful units take more supply than less powerful units, so you can have less of them, as well as your workers take supply, so you kind of have to balance all of that. So now that you know the basics, let me show you why I really love this game, especially its campaigns.
The swarm hungers.
I will ready a hive cluster for the swarm, while you do as much damage.
In this mission, we're tasked to wreak havoc until our base is ready, and then at which point General Warfield will nuke all of our forces. I really wanted to show this mission because, especially at the beginning, it really shows just how it feels to play this game, especially as the Zerg. The Zerg are meant to be an endless swarm that just overruns the enemy, and you can really feel it as you're playing through this mission, where you are just shredding through the enemy. The art style being realistic and serious, and just the way that the characters talk to each other and respond, and how the writing is done, how the story goes, it all makes it feel very like it's meant to be taken seriously, like it's meant to be epic and grand. And something that really helps is at the beginning of each campaign, there's a 4 to 5 minute long cutscene that is just super high production quality, and it's there for every campaign, and it just kind of sets the tone for what it's going to be like. As I alluded to earlier, playing the Zerg really makes you feel like a swarm. And playing the Protoss as well really makes you feel like an advanced alien race, warping in units and using energy weapons and shields. And playing the Terrans feels like what humans would feel like if they were in this situation. In short, all these factors come together to really immerse you in the story of StarCraft 2. Now that I'm not 7 anymore, I can really appreciate the influence that this game had on me. When I play games, I want to feel like all the mechanics around me can come together to create an experience that isn't so planned out. I want an experience where I can have the ability to be creative and resourceful, and I just love it when multiple factors can come together in ways that nobody would expect. StarCraft 2's campaign, minus the being owned by Blizzard syndrome that it contracted near the end of the third one, is still my favorite story mode in any game ever. The RTS genre after StarCraft 2 has fallen off immensely, so hopefully one day Blizzard will quit being lazy and grace us with StarCraft 3. Until then, I'll just be here, joyously replaying the game for the 16th time.
We require more Vespene gas.